Peace to the family. What's going on? Good morning, good afternoon, wherever you may be at in the world. Probably is afternoon. What's going on, Nubian Naps? Thank you, everybody, for joining. Thank you for watching the replay. I'm going to get straight to the point on this one. My teacher, Master Mitchell Gibson, yesterday talked about a journey he was on in the dream state. And he was with his teacher, the Archangel Gabriel. And the Archangel, the conversation went something like, how are your ancestors doing? And Master Gibson said, I'm taking good care of them. You know, I'm taking care of my ancestors. I mean, I'm feeding them, I'm interacting with them and things like that. And then the Archangel Gabriel said, well, what do you mean? You know what I'm saying? Like, well, how are they, though? I know what you're doing, but how are they? How are your ancestors? Like, what's their condition? And he said he didn't have an answer. And so he came back, and yesterday in a post on Facebook, he said, I want you to ask your ancestors how they are doing. You know, and the Archangel Gabriel will go with you to find out, you know, to like assist you and to protect you on this journey, right? And so I was like, oh, I love this, because I have a friend of mine who's a medium, and I have actually talked to my grandfather, and I have talked to Master Sunyata. I never met my grandfather, and she let me talk to him, and I talked to Sunyata after he had passed, because there were some questions that I had on my mind, and I got some very, very clear answers. So he said last night, look, just go into the dream state and, you know, just ask them. And I have been studying with Dr. Delbert Blair in the past, and he was like, you could ask a question right before you go to sleep, and you're going to get an answer, if not in that dream state, but in the next, like in the next 72 hours. So there's a piece right here that I want to put in, though, first, right before I get to what happened right before I went to sleep. And you can use this technique. As I was like walking down the hall to go to bed last night, I decided to open myself up to like another type of wealth. Not like I'm successful now, but I still want more money, and I want to move from this house. But I started thinking like, well, actually, what kind of house? What kind of house do I want? Like, do I want a house with a pool in it? And I was watching somebody yesterday, and they put their vision board together, and it reminded me I had made a vision board for myself in about 2 years, a real serious vision board. And I was like, what's wrong with having a house with a pool in it? Inside, I'm talking about like a koi fish pool pond in the living room. I saw a guy, he had koi fish in a little pond in the living room, probably about, you know, I don't know, about 5 feet around, the circumference 6 feet around, and he had chairs around it, and that was like, he didn't have a TV, and he's like, this is where I read at, in the center of this, all of this magnificence. And it was just like big house. It was just it was a mansion. And I was like, I really need to open myself up to that. And when I make in this next vision board that's going to be coming, I'm going to go all in. And because my vision boards in the past have been about self-development and things like that and accomplishing certain things, but I'm getting ready to like really expand my mind as far as in what is it I'm shooting for, right? And I'm not going to worry about the how. That's another thing why I have, you know, I used to be in the issues of, well, how am I going to get that? It's none of your business. Your subconscious mind and your expanded conscious is going to take care of it. Your conscious mind will never be able to figure it out. So that happened like on the way to my bed last night, and I was like, yo, I'm going to open myself up to like, wealth, like staying in different countries, in villas, like doing it up. Like, and when I laid down, I remember Master said when they went to Dubai in the only 7-star restaurant, they had a pillow menu where you could order what type of pillow you wanted. And when I lay down on my pillow last night, I said, when I go to Dubai, I want 3 things. I want a bed in the room nobody's ever slept on. I want the thickest like medium firm but really soft pillow that no one's ever slept on. And I want a room nobody's ever slept in. And I was like, oh, that's going to cost you. And I was like, I don't care. That's what I want. I want a pillow they had to bring that pillow in just for me. It wasn't like it was on the menu, but nobody had ever, it was brand new. They had to put a bed way up on whatever floor, 50, 60 of floor, just for me that no one's ever slept on. Sheets nobody's ever slept on, right? And in a room, in a hotel that's already been there, I don't know, 10, 15 years, I want to be in a room that nobody ever has slept in. And I was like, that may be a little far, but it better be a room that's very rare, like only kings have slept in. Like I wanted that exclusive. And then I grabbed my Angel Gabriel medallion, and I got to show it to you because I don't want y'all to think I'm bluffing because it's still up under my pillow right now. And I grabbed my medallion. I was like, well, if I'm taking Gabriel with me, I'm going to put Gabriel underneath my pillow. Pow. And I grabbed my Gabriel medallion and put it under my pillow like I have done many, 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 many other nights. I have different medallions from Dr. Gibson at Tybro, but when he said Archangel Gabriel, like it's just even how I came about the possession of this medallion right here is really, 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 really special to me, because the Archangel Gabriel is a teacher and he is a healer of the highest order, and it just really resonated with me. I was like, I already have Archangel Gabriel medallion. I was like, just ask him to assist you. And that's what these talismans and medallions are for, to assist us. So I put it up under my pillow and I clutched it in my hand. And I said, ancestors, tell me, excuse me, tell me what it is. I want to know how y'all living. You know how you meet somebody in the street, you say, how you living, son? What's going on? How you doing? And I said, ancestors, tell me how you're doing. I want to know. I don't, you know, I know that I have a nice shrine up. I know I feed them and I take care of them. But I was like, tell me your condition. How are you doing? And then I started calling them out by name. Like at first, I called out my father. I was like Arthur Lee Carter, Napoleon, Edward. And it's very good. And it's funny that we just had a show on the stimulus package for the ancestors and your altar work. And knowing their names. A lot of people say, well, what if I don't have a picture of them? If you can just get their names and call their names out. So I called out all my ancestors' names last night. Everybody that's on the altar, right? I think I called out everybody on the altar. Those are the names that came to me, and I just kept saying, come to me and tell me, come to me and tell me, come to me and tell me. And then I just was quiet, and I was saying in my mind, and then I'm working on learning the Annabelle Core, and I said as much of it as I have up to line 6. I got one more line and then the end. And thank you, Coach, for coaching me on learning to memorize that. And I went to sleep, and I had a dream this morning, and there's a person on Facebook that I met and that I really, really connect with what their mission is. And they just left the United States and moved to Milan, Italy. And they're all about wealthy coaching and teaching other coaches to be wealthy who are empaths, who are healers, who have mystic powers. And I'm all about mystics coaching. We the number ones who should be coaching. I know I'm a mystic. I know I'm a shaman, right? And she just moved, right? And she colored her hair red, and she's always in this white dress. But I've never spoken to her. I don't know her from Adam. I just know her. I seen her on Facebook, and I've been watching some of the stuff she's doing. And in this dream, I pop up in her kitchen cooking a pot of greens, and I'm cooking, and I'm throwing down on the pot of greens, right? And I'm in the kitchen, and I'm like, this isn't the apartment that she just moved to in Italy. It's a larger apartment, and it has more stuff, because the apartment she's in now is like really zenned out. And I was like, why am I in here cooking some greens in the kitchen? And she coaches women, I guess only women, that's her niche. And she was sitting on the couch, and there were other women in the house. And I was wondering, like, why am I in her house? And I really at that time wasn't thinking about, ancestors show me something. I was just like, why am I in her house, and why am I cooking this pot of greens, and why am I only cooking a pot of greens? But I was cooking them though, because I can cook. And yes, she has red hair. She just moved them. If y'all know, that's who it is. And but as the greens were cooking, you can't just stand there. And she gave me a look to say, you have access to the house, right? And it wasn't nothing sexual. It was just, but she knew me. She knew me from somewhere. She knew me, really, really knew me. And she's younger than me. She looks like she's about, I don't know. She looks like she's about 31, 32. I don't know. But she probably is older than that, but she looks really, really young. She's really, really cute. She's really, really sexy. But it wasn't that type of height, right? And as I wandered around the house, I was bumping into other women, and it was women that she was healing. They were clients of hers, but her house was much like a retreat, not like it was a regular house, but like she had people over, and these women were there, but I could tell she was like the queen bee, right? And I would come back, I would move to an area of the house, see somebody, and they knew who I was. She knew who I was, but I didn't know who any of the women were, but I knew who she was, right? And I would come back and cook, and I would go and look, I would check on the greens, and I would look. And then she came in and she said, there was like a woman from like Brazil who had like sandy brown hair. And she came into the bedroom that I was in, and the host came in and said, this is her bedroom. This is so-and-so. I can't remember her name. She's from Peru or Brazil or something. And she's here to stay with me while she's healing. And I was like, word. And so I was like, I'm gonna just ease out the room. She was like, no, she's just getting here. She's not getting ready to lay down right now, but this is her room, and this is how I treat people who come to me for healing. And I was like, okay. And so I went back in, and the greens were finishing up, and she was on the couch, and I know she had a maid, and she had some other women. And I was like, this pot of greens, I don't know if it's gonna feed all these people, because it wasn't a big pot of greens, right? And when the greens finished and I turned the heat off and put the top on them, all the women left except for the host. And I don't know why I keep saying this big screen TV that she was sitting across from, right? But the volume wasn't turned up loud. And her energy was like, come and sit down on the couch beside me. You've been avoiding sitting with me and coming and talking to me. But I didn't want to be rude, because I knew she was like in business, like, she was like dealing with all the other women. I thought maybe I was the chef or something. And she said, sit down. And I came and sat down on the couch beside her, and she had on like a white business suit dress. It was a one piece and was off the arms like this. Her arms were out. It was a one piece dress. And it wasn't flowing. It was just one piece all the way down, like a business suit dress, like a skirt dress. And she took her left arm and put it around my waist and pulled me into her. She was like, pull me into her, right? And she was just smiling and just giving me all this energy about like me being there next to her. But it wasn't like, I didn't feel like it was like a relationship, like not like I was her man or anything. She's very attractive. She's very sexy. She's cool, but I haven't had no like thoughts about her like that ever. You know what I'm saying? But it was all right. And then when she pulled me close to her, I just pulled, and my hand came up, and my hand fell on her knee type thigh, because her dress kind of came up, right? And I was like, ooh wee, I hope this ain't inappropriate. But it was like when my hand touched her skin, it went from a dream to being like reality. Like I was really there. I knew we were not in the country. I didn't think that we were in Milan, Italy. It wasn't her apartment, but I knew she represented, and she only does out of America. So I knew we were somewhere in an international setting, right? Having a Mars, you hear that ambulance coming through. They firing it up. And when my hand touched her skin, it was like the intensity of the dream went up 100. Like I was really, really actually there. It was not like dreaming anymore. When she pulled me close, it went up 50. But when my hand touched her skin and I could feel skin, it was real. It was real, right? And I was just and all of my now my mind is really engaging, and I'm like, yo, I'm in a visit. Like I'm traveling right now, and I wanted to catalog everything around me. But she's talking to me like, you're finally here. She says, she said something to the fact of you're finally here. And I was like, what? And I was like, wow, okay. And then she starts to like almost like lay out a plan. But it was like, you're here. This is what we're getting ready to do next. And she still squeezed me. I was like, yo, this joker got a really good, really good grip. Like my arm is like this. Like she has a grip around my waist, right? And she knows me, and she's very, very, very comfortable with me, and I'm very comfortable with her, but I don't know like what is going. I don't know how we met or anything. Like I said, I just came into the dream after I had accepted wealth and accepted that I want to talk to my, talk to my ancestors, and now she shows up. How you doing, Lori? I'm talking about a dream I had last night and the conditions that moved me to that dream, and how I use my Archangel Gabriel medallion underneath my pillow because, hi Misha, that Dr. Gibson was telling us to ask the Archangel Gabriel to go and check on our ancestors to see how they're doing. Not like my relationship, but how are they? And before I went to sleep, I was saying what I had remembered of the Annabelle Corps, and then I had accepted wealth when I was walking down the hall, like talking about a really big house with the pool inside. Not an indoor pool, not like behind my house, but I'm talking about like a pond inside the den with koi fish in it where I can sit around and read and then look up and just see like upstairs like a mansion. And when I went into the dream, absolutely, 336, we got to stick together. And so, but the whole point is check on your ancestors because, and then I got up, right? And with me and this sister are friends on Facebook. She has red hair. She left the country. She stays in Milan, Italy. But I didn't think we were in Italy. And then when she starts talking to me at the end of the dream, I was like, wow, we were planning something. We were planning something, and I'm trying to just catalog it. I want to bring as much of this back to my waking consciousness as I could, right? And something said alarm. I'm going to need an alarm. I'm going to need an alarm to like mark the time that we're talking. And all of a sudden, my phone had some type of like beep beep or message or something came in. But I get tons of messages while I'm asleep through my phone. But this one woke me up. And I just came out of the dream, right? And I immediately went into Facebook and sent her this long behind message because she was there. And I was like, I'm going to tell you first. And then as I was typing it out, I started to remember because I had forgot about what I went to sleep for, or like what the purpose of me going into the dream for. And so as I was typing, telling her the dream, I was like, maybe, and Master Gibson, this is the question for you. I felt, and it came to me, that one, her mind state for wealth was something that I'm supposed to be incorporating, including international travel. I would love some feedback on that. And somebody else just told me, who was looking at my chart and was like, yo, things are really going to pop once you start traveling internationally. And the second part was Because she had been representing the feminine side of my ancestry. Because for me, I kind of like, even though I have all the individual names of my ancestors going all the way back to my great-grandfathers and great-grandmothers on both sides, I didn't know whether she was like the culmination or she was just one ancestor, right? So my Aunt Maggie was the one who like really hugs me hard like that, right? And thanks everybody for joining who's watching this. Thank everybody in the subconscious community who may be watching this and who this is helpful to. I appreciate you watching the replay, watching it this far. I'm long-winded, but I just want to get the details out. Thank you, Master, for watching this. Thank you, Master Shire, for assisting me on my journey. Man, I don't know where I would be if it weren't for you and the tools that you have assisted me with. And thank you, Archangel Gabriel. Thank you. So, but even now talking about it, it seems like, because Master said, how you end this life is how you will start the next. And for me, my house is like a healing center. Minister Jew calls my backyard the activation portal. And in this house, it was nicer than my house on the inside. And she was taking care of people, and people were coming to stay with her, but for short times. And that's how my house is. I've had like 3 or 4 people stay with me for months. They were only supposed to stay a couple of weeks. And that is, they have Manda Panda. Yes. My Coral Gables family is in the building. Tell your father I said peace. Give him a big hug for me, and your mother, and pet the dogs, because I know they love me. So I was thinking that in this dream, this sister was representing my ancestors, and that they were comfortable, and for me to go and cook with my ancestors, to cook for my ancestors, I have a joy. I love to teach children, and I love to cook. Yeah, like I like those better than even eating good food, traveling, and having sex. I like all those too, but I love to teach. And I can't go a long time without teaching. I can go a long time without having sex, and I probably can fast too, but I love to cook for people, and I love to teach, and I love being around children, and I love nurturing people who need my help. And in this dream, this sister is doing the exact same thing. Her name is Naima Singleton, or Singletary. That's her name on Facebook. I hope it's okay for me to say her name. I've never, ever met her. And she was in the dream, and it was her house. And I was wondering, because I get visits in dreams from Master and from other people, and from my ancestors, I get dreams. And I get visits. But I have a lot of people who tell me, had to take care of that. That I visit them. At least twice a month, somebody sends me a message or calls me and says, you were in this dream last night, and these visits. And Master has explained that some of us have started developing that capacity in our expanded consciousness, in our light body, and things like that. And the mind is the only thing that stops us from being able to go do that. And I know I'm a healer. I know I'm a great healer, and I know that as I expand and open up my aperture of consciousness to what is available to me, that I will be doing more of these things, right? And thank you, Leslie. I want to hear about it. Yeah, and that's the thing. Let me say this. If I show up in a dream, man, tell me, because maybe I can help you with the interpretation, and maybe you can help me with the interpretation. All right, because I don't sit down and be like, I want to go and visit somebody. I just go to sleep, and then it seems like I always show up in the capacity that person needs me in, and it's always in a capacity of that which I'm growing to. Maybe not me now, but the teacher that I'm growing to, that I'm trying to get to let out, that's inside of me, that teacher shows up. So I guess it's kind of like the physical me is trying to catch up with the etheric me that's already there. All right. So that's my piece on the dream last night. I welcome all of your feedback from it. Like for you on the replay who listened all the way to the end, if you want to write some comments, I would love it. Master Gibson and Master Ashaya, I really would love if you would give me some feedback on this as well. But I'm just reporting in because you gave us an assignment. You said go check on the ancestors. It seems like there's a house where some healing is going on that's tended to by a woman who's a master healer, master coach, where people come in and take care of and she takes care of them. They come there for healing. And I remember that you said even on the other side, our ancestors need hospitals. That's why it's important that we send them money and that we send them food and that we send them gold and we send them things to support them so they can build healing facilities for others. Because there's other ancestors, like my ancestors, I know they're workers. Like I know my Aunt Maggie is taking care of other people. I know my father is taking care of other people because he's not one to like turn people away. But he has to have the resources to do that. And I know if and when I get to the other side, me, when I transition from this life, I'm gonna go over there. I'm gonna be a worker. You know, like Tupac said, if I die tonight, I'm gonna hit the ground working. You know, and I'm not ready to go, not at all. Chilling, having a ball down here on Earth, even though I call it boot camp. I know, but I now want to expand. And I remember the house that Master put up for us to have for us to visit in our dream state for the family members of Tybro. And I'm going to start really looking at that more for visiting and doing healing in that house. But I'm also want to start constructing my own condominiums and my own Beverly Hills of healing. The hills, you know, in Hollywood, you have all these $20 million homes and, you know, everything from $10 million on up to $30 million. And it's a community of these multi-million-dollar homes and mansions. I'm going to start constructing that. I don't know what what's the name of that movie that had Leonardo DiCaprio in it? and the young girl, she was the architect, and you could come in and you could build the dreams. But he was going in stealing in dreams. But before he could go in and steal information in the dreams, there had to be an architect who built the entire city. And I don't know what the name of that was, but that's Inception. Exactly. I'm getting ready to go in and start on some Inception type stuff. So thank you, Archangel Gabriel. Thank you, Master Gibson. Thank you, Master Ashaya. Thank you, all of my family who on here, you know, like followers. Hey, Black Sugar, what's going on? Thank you so much for supporting me. Thank you for accepting me if I have ever appeared to you in a dream. Thank you for visiting me in my dream. Thank you, Naima Singleton or Singletary. I can't remember your name. And she had black locks, but her hair was the same length, but her hair was black in the dream. And so that's it. The recap of this is ask your ancestors how they are doing before you go to sleep, and ask the Archangel Gabriel to be with you and protect you and take you to your ancestors to check on how they are doing. All right? Because if let's say you don't have an altar and you aren't feeding them on the regular, giving them money on the regular, aren't lighting candles for them, or you aren't exonerating them, then what you may see may be uncomfortable, but you may need to see it so you can get on the ball and do something about it. Because I don't want my ancestors doing bad. And no. That's not my, that won't sit well with me. So if you're just joining the scope, you can go back to the beginning and catch it. And I will explain the whole thing about what happened in this dream last night after asking to talk to my ancestors. So now I got a lot of work to go do. And now I want to officially go and talk to my ancestors because I haven't went and talked to them yet today. So now I want to go in. I need some water, of course, and I want to go and talk to my ancestors right now and just sit with them for a second and pray and strengthen this connection because it's fresh and it just came in. So when this happens, that's what you do also. My spirit is telling me to connect with ancestors that you have, that you have connected with in a dream state. Connect with them in reality when you come back to waking state. All right. I'll talk to y'all soon.